Hello and welcome to the channel. We are the Hologrumps. I'm Colum.
And I'm Liam.
And we're here today to talk to you about the 5th episode of the Picard series. But before we do that, if we could obviously get you to like and subscribe to the channel, and comment below if you have anything you want to talk about. We're more than happy to reply. Oh, and also, we did a live stream on this episode, so do check that out as well. It's a much more broad overview of the episode. This will be much more condensed.
Yeah, and a much more casual discussion, and it will also take place directly after the episode airs.
So, starting off this episode, the episode itself is named Stardust City Rag. It was written by Kirsten Bayer, and it was directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Is this the best we'll get?
First thing you notice in this episode as you watch it, there's no Borg cube at all. It's not there. It doesn't exist. It's gone. It's been blown up. Well, okay.
Okay, not blown up.
It hasn't.
It would be better if it was.
I wish it was.
But unfortunately, at the conclusion of this episode, it can't be.
Yes, unfortunately. Now, we actually start off in a cold open in the past, 13 years before our Picard series takes place, on planet Verfessen, in the Hypatia system.
We see one of our characters from Star Trek Voyager, Ichep, sitting on a slab, or rather lying on a slab, and he's getting prodded and poked, and oh no, he gets his eye ripped out from his socket.
Oh,
and it was horrible. And I was actually, for the first 10 minutes of the episode, I was kind of like this, kind of felt sore for my eye, and it's really disgusting. And then 7 of 9 shows up and shoots the mad scientist that's operating on Icheb, trying to get his cortical node, which he had already given to 7 of 9, of course. And 7 kills the scientist, and then she sadly has to kill Icheb. She put Icheb down.
Yeah, old Yeller down. She put old Yeller down.
And that was the opening to the episode. And it's like, okay, and guys, on that note, let's take it away for this comedically driven episode.
Now that all the sad stuff's gone, let's just have a funny episode. So then we move on to Stardust City 2 weeks ago. And we meet Bedazzled,
Razzle.
Bejazzle.
Give 'em the old razzle dazzle.
Yeah. We're going to be calling this person the Razzle from now on because it's far more enjoyable.
And, of course, she's with her sidekick,
Vop,
Mr. Vop.
Vop, Vop,
Vop.
as Vok once said, Vop.
Vok, Vop. And they bring in Mr. Bruce Maddox. The moment has arrived. We have met Brian Brophy. I mean, John Ailes.
Yeah. He looks good for 90.
Yeah, Bruce Maddox should be in his 80s or 90s, given that he was on the board of the admissions board in Starfleet when Data was sending in his application in 2341, which is about 60 years before this episode takes place.
He looks good.
Looks good for an 80, 90-year-old. And he actually gets offered this drink by the Razzle and Mr. Vop.
He gets roofied.
Yeah.
Gets knocked out cold, gone. That's him.
And there we go. We have our opening. We get our 19 producers and we shoot into fake Chateau Picard with 7 of 9 and Picard having a discussion. And we're just catching up. Where has 7 been all this time? She's been part of the Fenris Rangers, taking the law into her own hands.
She's been a vigilante, fighting the bad guys on the good fight.
Oh God, let's not mention the good fight.
Oh no.
7 says that she is staying functional, which is, nostalgic enough for her to say, but then
it's ruined by her demanding some bourbon.
She's just a hard liquor drinker these days.
She's like that grizzled detective you see in all those old comic books or old movies. She has her shot of bourbon. She lives on her own in a smoky apartment that's covered in dirt. That's what I imagine her ship looked like.
To be honest, I was happy enough with the evolution of 7 of 9 because towards the end of Voyager, when she wants to start her relationship with Chakotay, the forgotten character in this, the Doctor removes her emotional suppressant device. She wanted to broaden her humanity, and the Borg implanted this device into her brain, which meant if she started feeling like
emotions,
like really energized emotions like love and all that it would overload her brain and give her an aneurysm or something along them lines. So of course, the other thing we learn is that Brian Brophy isn't in the episode. He's not there. If you're wondering what he's doing, he involved in Trek. He most recently directed a Star Trek parody musical called Boldly Go, which is available on YouTube for anyone that wants to watch it.
But getting back to the episode, Rios and Raffi decide to explain to the audience who Seven is, which was great because we hadn't a clue who she was. They give buzzwords. She's a Borg, Delta Quadrant Borg. Oh my god, Picard was a Borg. It's just...
Why don't they just put the old characters in it if they're going to spend so much time dwelling on the past?
We also learned something that isn't really too surprising, that Jurati and Maddox were in a relationship as well. And we find out that we're in a heist episode. That's what we're here for. This is the whole plan, to capture Bruce Maddox away from these people who are putting him up for sale to the Tal Shiar. So Rios has to go undercover and rescue poor Bruce Maddox.
You know, you could reshoot this entire season with this, you know when you have these trailers for heist movies, you know that bass music that always plays, like,
Doom, 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 doom,
we're putting together a
doom,
team,
doom, doom.
or whatever. I don't know what the music is, but you can have Picard picking up all his different companions.
And then the music cuts out for one funny moment. Why don't I have to play someone? Yeah. But the plan is to trade 7 of 9 for Maddox.
Oh no!
There's a nice reference here with a character named Mr. Mott, who is the barber on Next Generation, and he actually runs his own barber shop in the
Stardust City.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's a little sign of him there. It looks
he's been beamed into the world of
he
Blade
exists. He's canon.
Yeah.
He wasn't killed off by getting his eyeballs ripped out.
And then we learn about our character, the lizard guy, the Beta Inari, not to be confused with the Inari from Star Trek Voyager. Mr. Vop, we find out, can smell if you lie, which of course is going to be very important later on, because to counteract this, Raffi gives Rios an injection that will stop Mr. Vop from smelling if he lies, and then it's just never addressed again.
They'll just smell of smoked meat.
Yeah.
But then we get the most painful scene in the whole thing, where Picard puts on a French accent and says, "I thought it looked appropriately sinister." Actually, I just did a better accent than Picard did. It was like Patrick Stewart really wanted to put on some funny voices. Nothing like what Jean-Luc Picard would do.
You know, when you ever watch these films, it's like, I want to put a play on and we need our old thespian actors. And he's like, I thought my role looked sinister. And he does this thing as well. It's like, what
are you doing?
What's happening here?
Why?
And all he actually achieves is a sound, which he actually carries on for a good 15 minutes or so. He gets this sound that sounds somewhere between Werner Herzog and John Malkovich.
Painful.
I have the package for you now. Be careful with it. You are just a drone inside and out. Is this meant to be French or German? Who knows? So when Mr. Vop meets with Rios, we also get an Easter egg for Quark. Go back and rewatch it because his pronunciation and diction was so bad. Yeah, and put subtitles on to make sure it was correct.
Subtitles are a godsend in this series, to be honest, because we have to keep going back and going, hang on, put the subtitles on for that scene, like bejazzled name. So then we get Raffi in a reproductive services store, I don't know. She meets her son, which is a revelation that she has a son. And it's a terrible scene because it's more just browbeating, people giving out to other people. It's painful.
If anyone has ever played the game Oblivion, you know, of character disposition, you know, the little wheel and you're like negative, you know, you want to raise their disposition and they'll be like, and they're not happy with you. That's exactly what this character, her son, was. For the
and let's not forget his name.
Gabriel.
Lorca. She married a Romulan. Hang on, but this is a good point. It is kind of pushing against Raffi's prejudices. She has a bit of prejudice towards the Romulans, and it is nice that her son, in a way, is pushing against it. Not that he's in a relationship with a Romulan simply to upset his mother, but it is nice to see that she can't control her prejudices and who her family care for. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, despite all her craziness, maybe her son rebelled against her, and that's why he married a Romulan.
Eventually, 7 of 9, of course, is brought before the Grand Tribunal of the Razzle. And this accent joke has gone on for too long, and unfortunately, Picard is still doing the accent. Once they get the Borg inside them, it's very hard to get out because they are children. It's just painful.
And sadly, when they bring 7 of 9 in, they didn't go with the high-tech hood that we saw in Ask Not. So when 7 is brought before the Razzle, it kind of implies that they were Did you get the vibe that they were romantically involved at some point?
Oh no, I never got the vibe that they were involved. It wasn't because she called her by her name or that they basically summarized their entire relationship together. Oh no,
Oh.
that didn't happen.
Hello, Annika. And Seven's like, and then she starts kind of tearing up and everything, and it's like, again,
I was the one that got away.
where's Chakotay? Arrested by Starfleet as soon as they got back from the Delta Quadrant.
Mucky scum.
You mucky scum, you'll never learn. You'll never change. And we're going to have our CBS All Access show, Star Trek Chakotay, Maquis apart.
If there is one character in this who is the fish out of water character, it's definitely Elrond, or Elnor. He's basically the Data of the group. He doesn't understand the nuances of social interaction, and it's really enjoyable. And like I said in the live stream, where other characters like Spock and Data had superior intelligence to rely on, Elnor has his ability to kill people to rely on. So he doesn't have that intellect or conventional intellect to back up what he's doing. So he is really just clueless as to what's going on. So he just stays in the background for this whole episode, saying one-liners.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed that in Star Trek when you have these outside characters that will just say one line. Other than, okay, let's not confuse this with Spock saying, I like science.
I like science.
It'd be just simple things like, say, Tuvok saying, there is a certain logic to your magic. This type of thing. Just matter-of-fact things that are in character for Vulcans to say.
But the one thing that is astounding to me in this whole scene, Seven loses her temper and she grabs the Razzle by the neck. Everyone draws their guns. And we learn that everyone is terrified that Seven can snap a neck faster than a disruptor blast. I didn't understand. Just shoot her.
Maybe they're afraid if they shoot her. You know when it vaporizes one person, whatever that organic material is in contact with.
Just
will
lower
also
the setting.
vaporize.
I don't know.
It's part of the plot, Colin.
It's ridiculous.
And sadly, for Seven's gigantic, long, drawn-out speech, we already knew all of this, or at least any Joe blogs watching this show would have figured out what was going on.
Could have been done with a look.
So they get back to the HMS Grande with Maddox in tow because, they rescued him for now. And Seven talks to Picard about
she has to go back.
Yeah, I have to go back.
Get a pickup, you know. Oh, but could I take two of these guns that look like guns from the Halo series?
Yeah, because the not Maquis is going to collect me, and I'm going to go off my merry way and not try to take revenge.
But don't worry, I have a skill that allows me to dual wield.
Well, she does look like she could.
Yeah.
She does look like a superhero.
Well, in fairness, those guns don't look that heavy.
Yeah.
Now, it'd be a different story if they were barely hanging on and they were dipping down in front of her.
It'd be a different story if I saw Jurati doing that scene and walking around, you know.
Well, be careful what you wish for, Liam.
She gets justice for Echep. Hashtag justice for Echep. She kills her. She splodes her.
She splodes the Razzle. The Razzle is no more. The Razzle has been de-razzled.
She's been dazzled.
Oh no.
And we get to our next character about to be offed. Boom, 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 boom.
Who do you think it is? Like, really, who do you think gets to survive? Think of the person who has the most information to give.
Think of the person who's been the driving force of all theories and speculation for the entire series thus far.
He's dead now.
Yeah. The EMH is no more.
Yeah.
No, we're joking. It's actually Maddox. Maddox is dead.
He gets murdered by
Jurati
Park.
And the only thing that Picard finds out is that Soji is on the Borg cube, or the artifact, because it sounds really mysterious to call it the artifact.
Because there's no such thing as other artifacts. They've basically owned the word artifact. It belongs to the Romulans now.
And clearly it's common knowledge to everyone that the Romulans are floating around in this Borg cube.
But Jurati makes Maddox's head explode because she's seen too much and she doesn't want him to see that much either. So the EMH shows up and says, "Oh, what are you doing?" She tells him to go away and he just leaves.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to think to contact anyone and say, she's about to kill Maddox. He's just like, what are you doing? I mean, it did have some entertaining moments, but on the second viewing, the entertainment was gone.
Oh, it was like pulling teeth the second time for me.
It was pretty bad. And they've also they unceremoniously just killed and mutilated and destroyed Icheb.
Imagine they did that to Tuvok.
They could-
Imagine Tuvok got murdered in the first panel. You'd be just dejected. That deflated me for the whole thing.
Icheb's entire story, for all of the stuff he did in Star Trek Voyager, just became a plot device. And it's absolutely infuriating that these people have come along, they've just bought the rights to Star Trek. They may have had no involvement with previous Star Trek, and now it's like a fan fiction thing that they just have the rights to continue on, and now they can just kill off all the characters from our childhood. Because I grew up watching Star Trek Voyager, and these characters really resonated with me. And you come in to watch this show, and in the first 30 seconds, we get to see Icheb getting his eyes pulled out and all bloodied up, and just all he's there is to be a plot device for Seven to join the Fenris Rangers. I'm just thinking about all of the scenes in all of Star Trek Voyager of Icheb. I didn't even think about him all that much, to be honest.
No, I didn't care.
They
They didn't care, and you know what? I don't care anymore.
I've
I've stopped caring. That's why I just tuned out.
Yeah. And I've nothing to look forward to anymore other than Soji and Narek
getting killed.
Oh god, this show is going to be painful. Of course, we're going to get a lot of hate for this, I know, but whatever.
Okay, so if you like what you saw and you enjoy what you listened to, be sure to give us a like, a subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more of our videos. We will be doing more videos on Star Trek, obviously, and be sure to check out our live stream as well. For the Hologrumps, I've been Colum.
And I've been Liam.
Take care.